I was just setting up for this video and Henry almost took a bath in coffee. Hi everyone, how are you doing today? Happy President's Day if you're in the United States. If you're not in the United States, tomorrow is President's Day. Well, I'm probably gonna post this on President's Day. So I'm filming this on Sunday. President's Day is on Monday. Today is the 14th, Valentine's Day. We'll get to that in a little bit. But anyways, President's Day is the day that we celebrate our forefathers and predominantly our presidents in the United States. But it's kind of like sandwiched in between the birthday of George Washington and, well, typically it's sandwiched in between George Washington and Abraham Lincoln's birthday. I'm pretty sure one birthday is the 16th and one is on the 12th. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've had to know those facts. And this would be in between those two dates. If I'm wrong, I'm sure somebody will put the information below. And I could just Google it, but right now I'm filming on my phone, so I can't do that. But President's Day, I do know, is right around George Washington and Abraham Lincoln's birthday. So we celebrate President's Day in the United States, and we have a 3-day weekend. For me, I had a 4-day weekend. So it's a wonderful time to celebrate, along with a whole bunch of snow and ice on the ground, if you are in the northern part of the United States, and unfortunately also Texas. But as you heard at the beginning of the video, I was setting up all the junk that I have to do to set up for these videos, because there is a lot that goes into one of these videos for me to make sure that I have high quality content for you, such as all the lighting and everything. And I was getting my coffee, Folgers, classic blend, in my ceramic mug that I bought at Kirkland's. If you live in the United States, you might know what Kirkland's is. They might have them in Canada. I don't know. It's just kind of like a home goods store. I bought these years ago at Kirkland's. Anyways, and I was trying to squeeze past one of my lights, and I tripped on the cord, and then the coffee kind of went flying onto the floor. Luckily, my knitting was here. Nothing got on any of my stitching or crafting. It was just on the floor and the wall. But it came close to Henry. Good thing he's in a frame. We take risks when we make videos. So, I have my drink. You don't need my permission to get a drink for yourself. So if you need a drink, go get a drink. But I'll show you. I'm just gonna turn the camera so you can see what I'm talking about as far as lighting and everything. I have the big, I have a set of cameras, or the camera lights that I use for filming, as well as, now I gotta get back in the spot that I like, the sweet spot. Where was that at? I think that's a good spot. I have as well as a ring light that I have my phone mounted on. So That's kind of like my filming setup. Oh, nope, that's not right. And I'm trying to have it so we don't get glare. I think we're gonna have to take the glasses off. There we go. Good thing I can see without glasses. So, you can see I moved some plants around. I am now in the state of, it's February. It's kind of like spring cleaning season, and I'm ready for, I get in this state of, I think it stems from my childhood when we used to like clean and move all the furniture around, and it was like basically like a whole new room, and it felt nice and new and clean, and so I get that way. So the other day, well, earlier this week, I started organizing my craft closet, and soon, many of you have been interested in knowing how I organize and store all of my craft goods. There will be a future video on that. I'm just not quite ready to show you all that yet, so just bear with me as I finish kind of spring cleaning organizing before I do that. But I kind of got in the mood to organize, and I do that. So I was organizing my craft closet. Then because I organized my craft closet, I only have 3 closets in this apartment. So I had to, because I organized my craft closet, and then I had to organize my bedroom closet, because I have my craft closet, which is that wall right there. And then I have, which is basically my linen closet for my bathroom, but I use it for a craft closet. I have my bedroom closet, which is basically my main storage space in this house. And then I have my coat closet where you walk in, which is where I keep all of my paper goods, like paper towels, toilet paper, cleaning products for the house, along with all my shoes and coats, and you know, the mop and all that kind of stuff. That's all I have. So it's like, it's tight quarters here. So I get in these urges to just clean and purge. And so amongst that, I also got in the mood to move all of my plants around. So as you can see, I have my money tree here. So I'm hoping it will do well there. It's less light, but as the days are getting longer, I'm getting more and more light into my living room. So I think it'll do fine there, but I moved all my plants around, and I needed a good spot for that. I don't know if he's gonna stay there forever, but he looks good there while we're filming. So enjoy the background. Lately, I've been noticing a lot of videos when I'm watching FlossTube, and I catch eye of plants in the background, and I love it. So I like having some plants in my background whenever we film. I like plants. So let's talk about, so as I was cleaning, I don't know if I got into something, I don't know if I was like in the depths of some dusty stuff that I have not touched since I moved into here. So like 6 years ago. So I don't know if it was from the dust and the just, you know how like the grime from just sitting in a closet forever? This was like my bedroom closet that like back in the corners. And it's not that big of a closet, but because I don't touch it. And then like I broke out in some kind of rash. So luckily it's not showing up today, but my face and my neck. So luckily I took some allergy medicine and it's clearing up, but my chest and my neck and my hairline and my face all like broke out. Not that you need to know this, but I thought it was just interesting because, or it was my clothing, something sensitive. I have very sensitive skin. So I don't know if it's from the steroids that I was on whenever I was coping with COVID. And then that made me super sensitive to something I was cleaning or what. But that, the last couple of days, I have been extremely broken out with some kind of skin rash. But with that, I had mentioned COVID. I have been cleared to return back to the building for work, so I am no longer going to have to work remotely. So I thank you all for your kind thoughts and prayers if you have been doing that. So Tuesday, I will be returning back to work after almost 2 months, about 7 weeks of working remotely. So it's going to be an adjustment. I still don't know if I have the stamina to make it through an entire day outside of the home for work, but I'm going to do it. Luckily, I have my own office, so if I need to, I can remove myself from people because I'm not used to being around so many people, and focus on what I need to focus on, work related, and get the things done that I need to get done. But I am looking forward to getting back to a routine of being outside of the home. I have done, yesterday I went out into public as well too. I actually went and got my first dose of my COVID vaccine. It was the last opportunity I could get it through work. And so I went and took advantage of that so I could get the vaccine so that I don't have any risk of getting it again, because they don't know if you can get it again, and just to also help with herd immunity. So, because eventually I would like to go see my family again and do normal things. So I was able to do that, but I also got a haircut, and I was out of the home for quite a while, which I am not used to doing. And it's an adjustment. So especially whenever, and don't get me wrong, I like doing things, but I'm also like kind of set in my ways of just sitting around the house. So anyways, enough said with all of that. There's a couple other things I wanted to mention. So one, happy Valentine's Day. I know I didn't mention it last week, and that was on purpose because I wanted to draw attention to the holiday that I find more important, which is Groundhog's Day. So I hope you all had a wonderful Groundhog's Day. I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. I don't think it's necessary, because to me, people make it all about and I lost the word that I wanted to use. The physical goods. They make it all about buying things and giving things that, diamonds and chocolate and flowers and cards. And it's very commercialized. And to me, I don't think you need one specific day. I mean, I understand the background and the basis of it, but I don't need one day just to tell somebody that's important to me that I love them. Like, I do it on a regular basis. So it's just another day to me. But I do understand the basic concept of it. But I think in general, at least in America, I think it has become very, very commercialized and materialistic. And that pulls into, and you are welcome to disagree with me. This is just my personal opinions on the matter. However, this does pull into the next thing I want to talk about. And so I am going to be hosting, I don't want to say hosting. Ash Wednesday is this coming Wednesday. Now, I am a Christian, and I celebrate Lent and Ash Wednesday. I know many people that follow me are not, and I respect everyone's religious or non-religious beliefs. So this is not, what I'm going to talk about is not about religion. So I want to put that caveat out there now. However, typically during Lent, many Christians will often give up something. I am not that. I am not of that belief. I was not raised that way. However, I know many people around me do practice that rite of giving something up for the 40 days of Lent to to make them aware of excuse me, of, you know, the meaning of Lent. However, I want to switch it up a little bit this year. And I have been noticing in our community and of FlossTube and just crafters, but then also in the broader general society of humanity, a lot of negativity. And I think, one, it's because people are just getting tired of pandemic. There's pandemic fatigue, and they're just cranky and want to get back to their normal old ways, which I don't know if we're ever going to be back to the way things used to be. I think everything is changing, and I think there are good things about the pandemic that are changing things for the better. But I think we need to start bringing some positivity back into the world. So what I'm going to do for the 40 days of Lent is, instead of giving up something, I am going to focus on giving back or giving out to the community. So that might be, and it's not necessarily crafting, and it's not necessarily only to the crafting community, but I want to encourage you guys all and gals to join me in this. So I am going to create a hashtag where you can share your ideas and your thoughts and what you might be doing or what you might be working on, because some of the things that I'm going to be working on are craft related. But I also want to focus on the fact that, like, whenever you do something like this, it's not for the fact that you're going to get pleasure or attention back. You know, you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart. So I believe the hashtag is going to be crafters. I'm not sure. I will put it on the screen. I'll put it on in the information section below. I have to look it up. I meant to do that and I completely forgot. There will be a hashtag, but I am going to be doing something daily. So I'm making a challenge for myself to do some kind of giving forward or passing it on or passing forward type of challenge to myself of doing something every day during Lent. So it's 40 days between Ash Wednesday and Easter Sunday. But you know, I really think that this just needs to be a more broader and general, like, we need to bring happiness back into our lives, because I think the pandemic and the isolation and the lockdowns are sucking that kindness and happiness out of us. So that is my long rant of saying, let's try to be kinder and happier and more positive to each other. And so I'm going to be sharing those ideas with you all. I've considered doing a daily vlog during this time. I'm not sure if I have the time to be able to do every single day putting videos out, but I'm gonna see what I can do. So there might be a little bit more frequent of videos on my channel during this time. So Wednesday through Easter, which is, I think Easter's the first weekend in April. But we'll see, and just, you know, give forward, pass it on. So let me know what you think about that. Anyways, that is the thoughts that I have for today as far as administrative things. Happy Valentine's Day, though. I love you all. I love the fact that you continue coming back to my channel. These are just my own personal thoughts, and, you know, I put it out there for you to absorb and process. So I am going to go ahead right on into my stitching. No, not stitching, my knitting. So today I had some, let me get a drink first. I will say, one thing that has not completely returned to me since I've been had COVID is the flavor profiles of certain things are still not right, and coffee is one of them. As much as I love coffee and I still drink a lot of it, my coffee does not taste right. Okay, so I had some goals that I wanted to complete for this week. One was that I wanted to have 2 socks done, and I wanted to have really good progress on the pairs of those socks. So the first thing is I did get 1 sock done. This is the Peyton's, I remember to say it right. I always say Patton's. This is the Peyton's Croy sock yarn. I bought it at Joann's a few years ago. Remember, I'm trying to use up the yarn that I have. And I had to laugh because somebody said, you know, I had mentioned that this is the year of using up my stash, and then I show you all these things that I'm buying. Well, yeah, I never said that I'm not going to stop buying stuff. And for the most part, I have slowed down on my yarn buying. I have been buying a lot of cross stitch. But I did say I needed to buy more linen, so oh well. This is Peyton's Croy sock yarn in the color Clover Colors. I had 2 balls of this. This is going to be gift socks. These are toe-up socks that I'm stitching. So I did the rounded toe. I used the DPNs. This is on a 1.5, US 1.5 or 2.5 millimeter? 1 second, I didn't grab my other thing. Okay, so this is 2.5, yes, 2.5. One other thing that I've done in my organization is that I have now established that this is going to be my sock knitting bag for my US ones. Yes, my US ones. So everything that I need for US 1 socks are in this bag. This is now going to be my sock knitting bag for US 1.5s. So these are both just toiletry bags that I've had laying around. Well, this is one I bought specifically for sock knitting. This is a toiletry bag that I've just had laying around, and I'm like, this would fit my sock knitting. So I now use this. You just have to be careful with the zippers. I did get the sock yarn stuck in the zipper, and it's a pain to get out, but you can do it. So I have all of my US 1.5s, right? Is that what I said? Yeah, US 1.5s stuff in here. I predominantly have Chalgu needle stuff. My US 1s are Hayahayas. So, anyways, let me get back to my sock. Toe-up sock, DPNs, 9-inch circular for the foot. I switched to the DPNs for the German short row heels. Switched back to the 9-inch circular for the cuff. So I did have a question as to why did I switch from cuff down to toe up sock. One, I wanted to try it because I had this I had these 50-gram balls of sock yarn, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. So, you know, with 50-gram balls, you want to use up as much yarn as you have. You don't want to leave any left. So it's best whenever you have that you do toe up, so then you can continue going all the way up the leg until you run out of yarn. Whenever you start with the cuff, you only have a finite amount of stitching before you have to, so you don't know where to start or how long to make the leg before you have to start doing the heel or the toe, you know what I mean? So it makes sense. So I wanted to start practicing on that before I moved to the using those 50-gram balls. When I did that, I learned I really like my brain really appreciates the way that the construction of the sock works. It flows really well. To me, I knit the socks faster for the most part, and you kind of get the fiddly stuff done first. So the fiddly stuff of the toe, which is to me the biggest pain, you don't have to do a Kitchener. I will just say that, as you know, the cast off is kind of a pain because you have to cast off more stitches. And then I'm still practicing on getting the end off, you know, the last stitch off, sewn in properly. But for the most part, that's going to be covered up with pants anyway, so who cares? I really like the way it works. I love the heel. Whenever I do the German short row heel, it's quick. I can do a heel in 45 minutes. And it looks really nice. I love the way that it's constructed. So this is the first sock of that pair. I said I wanted to have it done, and I was able to complete it. So this is a short row, and I will show you, this is of that 50-gram ball of Payton's Croy. This is how much of that yarn I have left. I purposefully did make it, I wanted it to be a short sock. So I think I did like 15 rows of garters, of stockinette stitch, and then 15 rows of the 2x2 rib. Again, I'm not really following any pattern. I just know how I like to make my basic sock. Then I went ahead, I already had the toe cast on for the second sock. So here is, I didn't really get all that far. Here's the second sock. So, and I'm kind of irritated by this ball of yarn. There's the ball of yarn. When I started knitting, you can kind of see that line. There was a knot and two pieces of yarn were tied together, and you can visibly see. Now, granted, it's a yarn that fades, so it's not all that big of a deal, but I was not happy with the fact that it was knotted. Right there's the knot. But it's still a nice sock. So that is the second sock. I think I have 40 more rows of the foot before I start putting in the heel. So that's where we're at. So this goes in this bag. And the reason I put the socks in these kind of bags is because socks are typically the ones that I carry around with me when I'm going places. So when I go to my friend's house for dinner or watching TV, I can take my socks. They're small bags. They're kind of inconspicuous. They're not clunky or, you know, a whole big thing to carry around. And I can carry them and take my sock knitting with me. Or if I'm riding in a car with me, with somebody else that's driving, this is something I can take. It doesn't take up much room in the car if I'm in the passenger seat, And it's just something nice and small that I can take with me. So that's pair number 1. The second pair was, like I showed you before, I call my Steelers sock. And here is the first sock. So I did get the first sock done. Very happy with it. I love the colors. I'm not super thrilled about the yarn. It's not my favorite yarn to knit with. This is the Stroll Gradient yarn from Knit Picks. I love Knit Picks yarn. I'm not super thrilled about the Stroll yarn. I love their other yarns that they have, but wasn't super, and maybe it's just the yellow. I love the yellow, but to me, it's just, I don't know. It's a nice sock. I did try it on. It fits really well. This is because it's a longer leg than what I normally stitch. This is a little bit tight around my calf because I have a larger calf. But I should have maybe gone up a needle size, but I didn't, and that's fine. It works well. So that is sock number 1. I really like it. I love the colors. I did not even get the second one cast on yet. Here is how much yarn I have left over. So I probably could have gotten 1 or 2 more rows in the ribbing let out of it, but I didn't want to risk it because I had to cast off. So that's how much I have left over. Not even really enough to do anything substantial with that. So like I said, I have the second one to cast on still. Hopefully, maybe sometime soon. The reason I didn't get a whole lot of sock knitting done this week, though, is I have a finish. And y'all are going to be like, well, what do you have to finish? I finished my blanket. So this is the blanket that I've been working on that I got really frustrated whenever I picked up the stitches 3 weeks ago. This is the checkerboard pattern from Universal Yarn. It's a free pattern you can find probably on Universal Yarn's website. I found it on yarn.com, which is the Web's yarn store website. But you can find it's a free pattern. So that's what it looks like when it's done-ish. So it's basically just a checkerboard pattern, almost kind of like a basket weave. I say that loosely because I'm not really sure what a basket weave looks like in knitting. I used acrylic yarn for this. I used the Hobby Lobby brand. I love this yarn. It's 100% acrylic. This is the color that I use for the border. And this is called dark gray. And I used a yellowish color for, I think it's called Sunshine, for the main color, main body. And here is my blanket. And I'm super happy with it. So the one day, let me just tell you a little bit about it. The one day I decided, in the midst of all of my organization and cleaning, I saw it laying in my bedroom on in a pile, just in a clumpy pile because of the way it was cast on. And I was like, I need to get that out and just do a row. So I took the advice of one of my viewers who said, hey, ChiaoGoo Needles has that little adapter where you can add on another red lace cord. So I did that. So I added on the next longest ChiaoGoo lace cord that I had. So I made it super long cord. It helped. I was able to knit a little bit faster. I still think that a row took me 45 minutes to knit. I ended up knitting, I again deviated from the pattern by knitting the border is basically just garter stitch. And they only want you to put 3 rows of garter stitch on. I think I did 6. And then I did the cast off, or I'm sorry, the bind off. So here is my, and I ran out of yarn during the bind off, so I had to figure out a way to start another skein of yarn for the last like 40 stitches, but I figured it out. I've been using this blanket for the last 3 or 4 days. I love it. I think it's great. It works well for me. I love the size and the length. It works perfectly for what I wanted it to do in my stitching spot. So here is what it looks like. This is just half of the blanket. So it's just, you know, it's main color yellow. That's the basket, the checkerboard pattern. And I think the gray is just enough of a contrasting color around it to give it a nice design. And that's half of it. That's just half. I have it folded in half right now. So it's, the length is pretty substantial. I think it's longer. Well, I know it's longer than I am. No, yeah. Well, no, it's about 6 feet long. It's about 6 feet long. So again, there is the basket or the checkerboard. Now that I said it's a basket weave, I'm just going to keep calling it a basket weave, even though it's not a basket weave. Checkerboard pattern with the garter stitch border. Very, very happy with how this turned out. I'll show you the back. That's the back and how it looks whenever with the picked up stitches. So if you do the contrasting color, you're gonna see it a little bit. That doesn't bother me. I have not washed this yet or blocked it. I know I probably should, just so it has a little bit, so it lays a little bit better, but I haven't yet. I'm not really all that worried about it. It's acrylic yarn. It's gonna get used. It's gonna get worn, and it matches my house really well, and I absolutely love it. And now I'm trying to fold it, and it's just being unwieldy at the moment. So that's my blanket. I think it looks great. So I'm going to get cleaned up because that's all the knitting I have for you. And let's get into some gardening. Hey guys, let's talk about green thumbs versus black thumbs or brown thumbs or whatever you want to call them this week. So, you know, I get many comments on my Instagram and comments on my videos that I have a green thumb. And to be honest, I really think anybody can have a green thumb. You really just have to have the determination and patience to practice. I didn't always have a green thumb, and I think you also have to find the things that you do well at. You know, I grow the plants that I do well at. If you see, I have a ton of Thanksgiving cactus because they do well for me. So, but at the same time, I have killed many plants. So you have to be patient, practice, and find what works for you and the environment that you're growing in. So, you know, when I first moved into this home, there's been many plants that I've killed. I still kill many plants, and it's because I think that a plant is going to do well in this environment, and then they don't. Now, the orchid that I have here, which is doing amazing, and I'm so happy that it's finally blooming this year. It's the first orchid that I ever had that I didn't kill. And I've killed probably 3 or 4 orchids before that one. So basically, the short answer is learn. Learn what you need to do, learn what works well in your environment, and practice. Don't get frustrated whenever you don't do well with an individual plant. And try again. And if something doesn't succeed, seek advice, ask for help. I still ask for help. I have friends who are master gardeners, and I have friends who don't know anything about plants, but I still ask them. And I have YouTube videos that are gardening inspired, and I have websites that I go to, and I always am seeking out new plants that I think are going to do well in my home, or I'd like to try. And it's fun to just try and experiment and hopefully do well. Guess what? I just moved my plants around, like I said earlier in the video, and it might work out well for me and it might not. So, and if it doesn't work well for me, guess what I'm gonna have to do? Revert back to the way it was. So last time I moved my plants around, I almost lost my string of pearls. And I'm still suffering, and it's still on its way back. So we have to learn and grow, and there are living things that can teach us as well. So that's what it looks like right now. Hopefully, and it's doing well now. So you have to listen to your plants as well. So basically, anybody can have a green thumb if you listen to the plants, you learn from them, and you practice. Just like cross-stitching or knitting or anything else that you've done, you're not always perfect at it at the beginning. You have to practice. Hope you like this episode. I know it's not necessarily specific about one specific plant, but many people say, oh, I can't do that because I don't have a green thumb. You can get a green thumb. All right, so I have a little bit of cross stitching to talk about. But the very first thing I want to talk about is, I know for my major cross stitch pieces, I've talked about the fact that I use EZ, the letter Z, or Z if you are in a British province, Commonwealth country. EZ or Z PDF for my pieces. However, while I was organizing, I did find my Amazon Fire tablet, and I think this is I know it's an Amazon Fire, and I've heard people that have been able to have Pattern Keeper on their Amazon tablets. However, whenever I went to search for the Pattern Keeper app, it's not available on my app store. So how are you getting it on your tablets? Because I'd like to just play around with it and see if it's something I want to use. So if you have any suggestions or advice, I'd love to hear from you. Email me or message me in Instagram, or put it in the comments below, because I'd love to try it. This is the device I have. Maybe I can't do it on this device, but I thought that any Amazon tablet you'd be able to, because it's not iOS. So let me know if you have any experience with that. Is there a hack or a trick that you have to do in order to get it onto your device? Let me know, because I would love to play around with it and see what all the hype is about with Pattern Keeper. Okay. There is my public service announcement request for Pattern Keeper and my device. Let's hop right on into my stitching for the week. So, the very first thing that I did was, y'all had remembered that I went ahead and bought the floss and everything for that octopus anchor with that chromatic alchemy fabric. I'm putting that on hold for right now because I'm now starting to hesitate with that piece. So I don't know what I'm going to do. So I kind of put it away. I had it in, I think I had it in this bag, and I took it out of the bag and put it away. So that might be on hiatus for a time being. However, and the reason I did that was because I needed to free up a bag as well. So, because I have like all my bags used up right now. Very unlike Gerald. Because I had to take this off of a Q-snap. This is my castle design. So this is castle from 2x2 something. I'll put a picture in here. Or here. I don't know. I want to learn how to do the picture above my shoulder. I need to figure out how to do that. Anyways, I had a goal for this week of finishing the outside border. And so I did. It took me 2 days, which was a long time for me. I thought it was going to be a lot quicker than that. But I went ahead and finished the border. So there is the border of that design. So this is 28 count Silk Weavers solo die. So this doesn't have a name other than it was a solo die. And this is using number 29 DMC. So it's in the newer DMC colors that I've never used before. So it's like a light purple, not a light purple. It's a purple violet color. I don't know. It's a purple to me. It looks purple. But on this fabric, it kind of looks purple, kind of not. So I think it looks great. The border is done. That outside border. Now guess what? There's another border on the inside. Actually, there's two borders. There's a straight line of just stitching, and then there's an internal border. So I get to do that next, woohoo! But I had to take it off the Q-snap because I needed to use the Q-snap for something else. So this will probably go into a smaller Q-snap that will just fit this. Now my question is, how do y'all put large pieces of fabric into a Q-snap and then have all this extra fabric like hanging out? I mean, I use those like sewing things that go around the bobbins and put that on. I've seen those magnetic cords that wrap around like for the wires, like what you wrap around wires. I haven't bought those yet because I don't want to have a whole bunch of stuff that I don't like using. Do those work? You know, I hate having all these things that like, I don't want to buy stuff that I'm not going to use. But how do you put a whole bunch of fabric? I mean, I'll be honest, London drives me nuts too. And there's a new piece that you're going to see that is even more redonkulous. So, but that's the coloring right there. But that's what it looks like so far. A whole bunch of border. But I do the borders first because if I don't, I'm never going to get it done. I am doing both castles, which means I'm going to have to do both borders twice. I should do both borders before I even stitch the castles to reward myself then. But maybe that's what I'll do. So that's project number 1. That's the first thing I stitched on this week. Took me 2 days. Then I pulled out my Coming to America by Little House Needleworks. And again, you'll see a theme. In the midst of cleaning and organizing, I found this is a Made by Mama Joan bag that I have this in. And I got, whenever I bought this from her, she sent me, see, Made by Mama Joan. This is my map bag that I absolutely love. One of my favorite bags of hers. She also sent me a scissor lanyard. Is it a scissor lanyard or just a lanyard in general? Now, I don't use it as a scissor lanyard because it's a little bit too long for me, for my scissors. I don't put my scissors around my neck or anything like that. I don't need to have my scissors that close to me. I don't have pets or small children that I need to keep them like close to me. I leave my scissors on the couch and on my table beside me and whatever. So I ended up just putting it on. It fits perfectly on the zipper, and I use it as like a zipper pull. So there, matching zipper pull. So I decided to pull out this, and I wanted to get a good chunk of the next section done. So I went ahead and stitched the boat. Guess what? I have a matching grime guard too. Look at me being all coordinated. So there is the boat. So everything is done on the boat except for the sails. There's sails and then there's back stitching that I can't do until later on. But I did go ahead and decide what color I wanted to do for the boat. And I ended up using XU Designs Rusty Bordeaux. So this is a XU Designs. I don't know if she still has it or not. I never really checked. This is a thread that I got from her years ago that I've had in my stash. So that is what I use. And I even, again, in the midst of all my cleaning and organizing, I found beeswax that I've had for like 3 years that I've never ever used. Didn't even know how to use. And so I used beeswax with this and really liked it. So there is my boat. I really like that boat. I think it turned out really nice. I love the contrast of colors as well. So that is the boat of Coming to America. So I just have to do the sails, which I'll do next. And then I'm gonna move up and start doing the skyline. So there is the skyline of New York City. I'm saving the building to last because I really like the building. And I have some color decisions to make over on the building, so there we go. That is Coming to America. Again, this is on 28 count mushroom Lugana that I coffee dyed and baked. And that tutorial should be coming out in the coming week. I have it all ready to go. I'm just putting the final touches on that. So there we go. Put away, put away. That's the pattern. Zippy, zippy. That right there is like my favorite color. Not really. I like that right there is my favorite color, but I really like that color too. Earth colored people. Earth tones. Ooh, this is really dusty. I need to dust. Next up, which all of you, I mean like all of you, I mean, I shouldn't really generalize, but I'm going to generalize right now. All of you seem to be super, super thrilled that this one came out to play. Because y'all really like came to play whenever you saw London in my screenshot from last week. So here is London by Thea Governor, or Thea Gubner, or however you pronounce it. I'm an American, so I'm gonna Americanize it and be my, you know, American self. Thea Governor. Again, I'm working over here in the National Gallery, which is this little white building with the beautiful blue dome. I have St. Paul's done. I have All Souls. So St. Paul's, All Souls. I have half of Westminster Gate done. I have Royal Albert Hall. I have it all written down in the pattern. I don't have the pattern right here. It's all written down in the pattern, but I'm testing my knowledge. I believe this is the Royal Albert Hall. What I have left on the, and of course we have a red telephone booth. I have that done. I'm working on the National Gallery, and then I have Westminster Abbey to do. Then I'll be able to come over here to this side. I have all of that piece of Parliament done. I still need to stitch Tower of London, Elizabeth Tower, and the Tower Bridge. This tree, random tree, and this beautiful ornate lamp, which I'm saving for last because I think that is amazingly gorgeous. So enough talking about the picture. So as you can see, this is the back. And see how I just like shove it all up in there? Like this works for me. Wait till you see the next piece. But here is what I have done so far. So of course I have it in the Q-snap. It's not coming out of the Q-snap because of all this shoving. But this is what I worked on today, or this week. So I filled in more of, and it always looks so much better on film, on the camera. So I filled in more of the cornice piece, or whatever you want to call that. I'm not great on my architectural terms right now. So I filled in all of this and then all of this white up in here. Or cream colors, or whatever you want to call them colors. They look white. But there's like 5 shades in there. So that is what is done so far. This is stitched on 18 count black Aida 1/1 full cross. I do think there's still a teeny tiny bit of the Royal Albert Hall. I'm 99% sure this is the Royal Albert Hall. There's still a teeny tiny piece of the Royal Albert Hall that I still need to stitch right here that I'm gonna do after I get this building done. And then I have to do the dreaded last part of this lamppost for the gate. And then I'll get to do Westminster Abbey, which I'm looking forward to doing. But I wanted to get this building done first. So that's London. That is where we are at with London. I'm really liking how it's coming together. I'm gonna keep working on this. This is my focus piece for February. I'm really surprised. Here's the other thing. I decided to start marking up the original pattern. I'm coloring it in with colored pencils, and I don't feel bad about doing it. And it's working up so much quicker because I'm doing that. I'm not stressing about it. And I'm enjoying stitching on it again. So I think that played a big role in me pulling it back out. So there we go, London. And last but not least, I have a new start. So we are on our Anglophile kick here. So this is partially a piece of purchase that I got. But if you all remember last week, I talked about the fabric fiasco, not really a fiasco, but unhappiness with the antique white linen or Lugana that I got for this design. This is Britain in Stitches by Heritage Crafts. This is the British Isles. It is perfectly fine because the piece was too small for the design that I needed to do. Because I went off of this piece of fabric, or this design size, and that was the wrong size to go by. I should have looked in the pattern because there's like 90 pages for this pattern. And I didn't. And so I needed about 6 more inches on each side than what that says. So I ended up, my friend was over. He helped me pick out the fabric because it's for him. And so here's some things I want to clarify. So somebody suggested I should go with a blue fabric. That was initially what he wanted to do as well. However, y'all might not know this, but you don't stitch the land. So if I did blue, the water would be blue, the land would be blue. It wouldn't look right. I also wanted, like, my vision of this would be something that would hang in Hampton Hall, Hampton Court, you know, somewhere fancy. So to me, it needed to be like a rich neutral color. And then we could frame it in a, you know, a frame, not necessarily gold, but like a nice ornate frame with maybe a royal blue mat. And I got him hooked on that. So that's, I think, what we're going to do. So we ended up ordering a piece of 28 count ale. It arrived yesterday. So of course I had to start it yesterday. And it's a massively huge piece of fabric, as you can see by my shoving. And I tried to put it on an omnic frame, but I don't have an omnic frame big enough. The only omnic frame I have that's big enough is the one that my Heaven and Earth design is on, and that's not coming off. So I had to put it on a Q-snap. And that's what I ended up with. And you can see, it's just lovely, like, yeah. Anyways, here's my start. So you're all gonna be like, whoa, the stitches look really, really close to the fabric color, and they kind of do. But that's what we have so far. And initially, I was very anxious because of this color. But when I started putting the blue in, I'm like, okay, now I can see it, and it's gonna turn out really nice. Also, this brown color gets backstitched with a much darker brown color, which I think will then make it pop. So right now, I'm not anxious about things. So there we go. Of course, I have the Union Jack on here because I ordered that from Abby Top Knot Stitcher because I knew I was gonna be doing a bunch of British-inspired designs. So there we go. So basically right now, all I'm doing is the outline of the islands. So this is, I can tell you, this is the border, this line right here is the border between Scotland and England. And way down here is Liverpool. I think We all say things like, oh, this is gonna stitch up really quick. I think this will stitch up fairly quick. Unfortunately, because of the fact that I have to have this in a Q-snap, it's gonna stitch up a little bit slower than I anticipated, because what I really wanted to do was have this in an omnic frame and then be able to stitch like all of the border as much as I could see, and then go back in and stitch all like the background of the city names and all the mountains and all the detail work. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm going to have to go page by page. But that's fine too. So we're just going to go with it. So I think it's going to turn out really well. And it's going to look good. So that's my stitching for you. So I'm going to get, of course, cleaned up, and then next up will be plans and purchases. All right, let's go on into plans and purchases. But first, if you made it this far into the video, kudos to you. And if you've made it this far into every one of my videos this year, even more kudos. So because of that, and because of everyone who has been exceptionally kind to me and, you know, helping the channel progress forward, I'm going to do a giveaway. Now, for the majority of you, I know this, well, I don't want to say this. I know a lot of people love this channel because I am unique in the cross stitch world, as in I like to do things that a lot of people don't do. Honestly, I don't like to do things that other people do. And the reason is because I like to be creative and unique. However, in my organizing and cleaning craziness this week, I found some patterns that I know there's a SAL going on, or a stitch along. Love those acronyms. And many of you might want to continue, join the fun. So this is the Sew by Row by Lori Holt. And I have two patterns. So if you're interested in stitching this cross stitch design, I know there's also a quilt pattern. I actually might have the quilt pattern as well, because I get all the things that they're putting out. However, this is not my style. I think we can all figure that one out. But this might be your style. So if this is your style and you want to stitch this up along with everyone else that's doing that stitch along, this is your chance to earn a free pattern. So here's the thing. The reason I picked this is because I'm also kind of interested in using my sewing machine more. So I want to know if you sew or use your sewing machine, or, you know, have you ever sewn or sewn? What I need you to comment below is, if you want to enter for this giveaway, tell me something that you've sewn with your sewing machine that you think that I might be interested in. And if you've never done that before, then tell me that you don't have a sewing machine and you're not interested. But if you have sewn with a sewing machine and you have some tips or tricks or patterns that you think I might be interested in, please put it in the information section below, and you'll be entered to win one of these two patterns. I will tell you, I'm not interested in sewing project bags. So I have plenty of friends who can make me project bags that I can buy that are far superior than anything I could make. So I don't need to make project bags. So I'm more interested in learning other skills with my sewing machines, with my sewing machine. So if you're interested in winning one of these two patterns, put a pattern or tutorial in the information section below that I could learn from. And you'll have a chance to win. I will be giving this away in 1 week. So I will be pulling the names next Sunday, February 21st, 2021. If you're watching this well into the future. All right, so let's go ahead and get into my purchases for the week. I don't have that many. Things are slowing down. I did go to Joann Fabrics yesterday when I was out and about getting my haircut and vaccine and doing some grocery shopping. And the reason I went there was because I did need to get some DMC. So I did pick up some DMC because guess what? It's President's Day weekend. So they were having their too low to tell the price sale. So I picked up some DMC. This is DMC 783 and 782. I think it's 782. Yes. Right up my colors. Look at that. It matches. So I have a plan for this. More about that in the future. I don't even know if this is enough of what I needed, but I didn't want to take up everything that they had, and two, I don't know how much I need, so I didn't want to have like a whole bunch then more than what I needed. So DMC is pretty standard in their coloring, so I'm not that stressed about it. While I was there, I also bought a photo box. Now I bought a photo box because I think I have floss away bags, and I don't have a good way of organizing my specialty threads. So my Extra Designs, Classic Colorworks, Color and Cotton, the ones that are on color cards. So I think what I'm going to do is put them in the floss away bags and then put them into this box and then put it on my shelf. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I bought this photo box, and I think that's what I'm going to put in there. I like it because it's flowers. And I've been stitching birds lately. But it's also earthy tones. So there we go. And I guess I was in a green kick because I was just randomly looking at fabrics, and I saw these 3 fabrics in their fat quarters. I was like, oh, those would be nice for backing fabrics for smalls. No plans on using them right now. I don't even think I've stitched anything that these would match at the moment, but I have them. So if I do stitch anything in a green or brown tone, the fat quarters were on sale, so couldn't pass those up. When I ordered my 28 count ale from 123 Stitch, of course, it couldn't come alone. I have always been interested in, and this is going to be like, Gerald, you're serious? I have always been interested in the Victoria Samplers band samplers. Now, I say that loosely because I've never stitched one, but I've seen people like Stitchin' Mommy stitching her Nativity band sampler, and I really like the way it's looking. So I ordered one to look at it and see what I think. So this isn't one that I really wanted to get, but I wasn't sure. So I really like this one though, but I don't think I would stitch it exactly the way it's designed. So here is the one that I got. I got Carol Singer's Sampler. So it's Carol Singer's Sampler by the Victoria Sampler. I don't know why, but I'm still in the mood to stitch Christmas. So that's what it looks like. It has Santa flying there up on top. What I really like about it is the architecture of these buildings. We have the carolers, and then of course, more buildings. And it has the carol Here we come a caroling among the leaves so green. Here we come a wandering so far to be seen. Love and joy come to you, and to you your wassail too. And God bless you and send you a happy new year. However, if I were to stitch this for myself, 99% sure I would not stitch it with the lace or the hardinger. But if I were to stitch it for somebody else, I don't know. I've always been interested in learning how to do hardinger, even though I think it's in my personal opinion, I think it's kind of dated looking, not very modern, but still be interested in learning how to do it. So we'll see. Don't know when. I have no plans on starting it anytime soon. And looking at it, there's no key for, it's not DMC or anything. And I don't necessarily want to buy all of the silks for it. So I may have to do a complete color conversion. I don't know. I might have to reach out to Stitch and Mommy and talk to her about what she did. We'll see. But if I like it, there's probably like 3 or 4 more of the band samplers that I like. So that is something I got. And then, okay, so here. Well, you know, let me get a drink because this is a story. So I think you all know, if you've been with me for some time, if you're brand new to my channel, welcome and thank you for joining me. I'm Gerald. If you have been with me for some time, you all know that I ordered an order of fabric from Udit or Ukis X2 Designs, one of my favorite fabric dyers, who I've been using almost exclusively, and I say almost because I do use other fabrics. I ordered an order of fabric from her December 19th. I then ordered a second order 3 weeks ago, knowing that I have not yet received the fabric from December 19th. The order from December 19th is still sitting in customs in New York City. However, the fabric from 3 weeks ago, January, decided that somehow it got like a free pass to go through customs and just like wave hi and bye to the fabric that I ordered in December and slip right on through and arrive at my home the other day. I really wanted the fabric that I ordered in December because it has silks that I'm waiting for, because I want to try her silks with a pattern that I have setting in my closet. But I will wait patiently for customs to do their thing, or to find it in a dusty corner where it must have slipped behind like 2 shelves or something. Anyways, so I ordered 3 pieces of fabric from Udit in January, and they arrived. I also, in that same order, requested her to custom dye me a piece of fabric that I wanted for a specific purpose. So I specifically asked her, and then just have her shove it in the bag and ship along with it, so I didn't have to, so she didn't have to ship 2 different separate packages. So the custom piece that I requested her to do was a fat half of Rocky Mountain. And this is in 46. Yes. 46 count Zweigart Bristol linen. So this is Rocky Mountain. You would remember Rocky Mountain last time I stitched on it from my piece that I stitched the 13th Bay Colony from By the Bay Colony, By the Bay Needleworks. So this is the Rocky Mountain that I ordered. Hint, hint, I'm putting the other By the Bay Needlework, By the Bay designs that I bought on this piece of fabric. So that's what this is for. I wanted a larger piece because who knows? It's Rocky Mountain. She doesn't usually have Rocky Mountain on her website all that often, so I just asked her to make a piece of a half yard because she's custom dyeing me a piece, so I wanted to make it worthwhile. Then, so the pieces that started it all off. So this is basically how her fabrics come. Her tag hanging around it, which says what it is, 46 count, the color, and then the size. So then the pieces that I ordered from her that caught my eye was, this order is predominantly 46 count. Because 46 is my favorite, even though I haven't really stitched on 46 count recently. So this is a 46 count in old linen. Old linen, 46 count. Remember, old linen is what I stitched the Queen sampler on. So that's old linen. Really like old linen. I think it's a beautiful piece. This is a 20 by 30. So that's half of the piece. There's the other half. You know, a nice big chunk of old linen. 46 count. There we go. And then the last piece, not the last piece, the second to last piece, another 46 count that I purchased is a 29 by 19 piece of autumn gold. A nice yellow, oh yeah, there we go. Nice yellow. Look at that piece. Again, that's half of it, so it's doubled over. Not sure. I don't have any plans for this. The only piece that I had plans for is the Rocky Mountain. But I was starting to run out of her fabrics, and I was like, well, I need fabric for whenever I have some plans. I have some projects that I'm going to need to have fabrics for in the future. And so I have them now. And then the last piece of fabric I got was a 32 count. I don't stitch on 32 count all that often either, but I saw this one and I was like, oh, that's gonna be nice. This is chalkboard. And this is a 19 by 27 piece. And this is 32 count. Let me fold it over so you have a little bit better quality of look. There we go. So that's what it looks like. A really nice, rich gray. Not sure what will go on that, but lots of great things will go on that. But that's not all, because in typical Judith fashion, actually Designs fashion, and I'm sure I'm butchering her name, so I apologize. I try. She sent me some flosses, and these are beautiful flosses. So these were gifts that she sent along with the package. So none of these have names. These are just hand-dyed threads that she sent along with the fabrics and look at those threads. I love this green. Actually, I love them all. I think they're all great colors. They could all go well together in a design too. So those will definitely be used in something soon, someday soon. I don't know when or what, but I have them and I can use them for something. So there we go. That is my purchases. So my plans for the week are going to be that for knitting, I really just want to, I definitely want to get that Peyton's sock pair done. So that Peyton sock pair is going to be done. I want to get the other Steelers sock cast on, what I call Steelers sock cast on. That's the Stroll gradient sock. The yellow gray charcoal color sock, I want to get that cast on. I don't know where I'll get to on that, but I definitely want to get that cast on. Again, remember, I'm going back to work in the building now, so I'm not going to I have to commute now. More than just 10 steps from my bed to the desk. So I'm actually going to have to drive to work and back to work home. So I'm not going to have all that extra time to knit and stitch and all that kind of stuff. So it's probably going to eat into some of my crafting this week, even though I am off tomorrow, meaning Monday. I did start another project this last week, but I didn't show it in this video because I'm not sure about it yet. So I want to put a few more knit stitches into it before I show it, so I feel comfortable that it's going to last. And then if it is, then I will show you, and then we'll talk about it next week. If I do have some, maybe I will be doing some daily vlogs, maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. Stitching wise, I am going to stitch on what calls to me. So I'm definitely going to put a few more stitches into my England map, or I'm sorry, the British Isles map. Well, it's not mine, it's my friend's, but I'm going to put a few more stitches into that probably today and tomorrow. I'm going to work on, I don't know. Oh, London. London is definitely going to be in the mix this week because that is my focus for the month. And then after that, I don't know what I'm going to stitch on for the rest of the week. Maybe Heaven and Earth if I can figure out how to play around with Pattern Keeper on my tablet. So if you have any tips or hints, let me know. Other than that, I'm just going to go with the flow. And I hope that you do the same if that's what you're into. And if you are more of a type A, you have to have a plan, go for that as well. So, you know, just do you and do what makes you feel happy and comfortable. And as long as you're being creative and crafty, that's all that matters. So I hope you all have a wonderful week. And until we see each other again, which could be Wednesday, or it could be next Monday, or it could be anytime in between Wednesday and Monday, I hope you have great crafting mojo, and I hope you get a lot of great things done. And until then, continue to make the things that you want to see in the world, and don't forget to always be creative.